Chapter 3, Tools, what we'll need to work on this course. So there's a few things that you'll need. First off, code editors. Here are the icons for 4 different text editors I can recommend. The first is Atom, which we tend to recommend for gymnasium courses because A, it's free, but B, it's also available for both Mac and PC, which means the user interface is going to be very similar no matter which platform you're on, and this tends to make it a little bit easier to follow along with the instructors while you're coding. The second icon is BBEdit, which is Mac only, and while there's a paid version with a full set of features, they also have a free version which has no real restrictions or nagging reminders, which is pretty generous. Next up, there's Coda, which is also Mac only and is one of my personal favorites. And last up is Sublime Text, which is extremely popular. Like Atom, has the benefit of being cross-platform for Mac, Windows, and Linux. But unlike Atom, it does come with a price tag. Web browsers, get all of them. We've got featured here Safari, Chrome, Firefox, Edge or Internet Explorer from Microsoft. The Edge browser is the newest one. It's really quite good. And Opera. The best thing to ensure that you have a website that works across all devices is to make sure that you have at least 2 or 3 different web browsers installed, and make a habit of testing your code in all of those different browsers just to make sure that you're not optimizing for something that works slightly differently from one to the next. You also want to think about going to a website like caniuse.com. So right here I'm just taking a look at the compatibility of Flexbox. You can look up any kind of CSS attribute there and see how well it's supported. You can see that pretty much across the board we can start to use Flexbox and be pretty confident that it's going to work. It looks like the global compatibility with devices accessing the web is actually up over 97%. You do have to remember that some percentage of that is with conditional support, or it's only partially supported in Internet Explorer 11, but otherwise it's in pretty good shape. Developer tools are another thing I wanted to mention. All browsers have some version of these tools designed to make your life easier, and the general workflow is to right-click or control-click on a page, and this typically pops up a number of code panels which allow you to inspect the document and do things like modify the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, analyze the network traffic on a page, look at the sources of various files being used. I'll be using these developer tools quite a bit in the upcoming lessons, and while I'll do my best to explain what's going on, if you want a more thorough introduction or review of browser tools, let me plug this course that we have here on Gymnasium called Build Better Websites with Chrome Developer Tools, taught by Keith Peters. This will let you walk through a number of tips and tricks for making the most out of these fantastic and, quite frankly, almost necessary tools for front-end web development. Now finally, emulators. I wanted to bring up, you can get free copies of Xcode from Apple, which comes with an iOS simulator, and you can download the Android SDK, which has an Android emulator, so you can actually run these right on your laptop or desktop and open up a browser and see an exact replica of what it would look like on that device. Finally, calculators. Here's a quick tip to get you started. Let's say we have a heading which is set at 48 pixels and we want to convert those pixel units to ems. The code for that style might look like this. Now we know that the default pixel size for web browsers is 16, and if you didn't know that previously, now you do. So we have 2 important numbers here, and the formula referred to looks like this. Target divided by context equals result. In this case, the target number is 48, and that's the number we want to convert. The context is 16, which is the standard size, so the size of our body text. We plug those numbers in, we get 48 divided by 16, and the result is 3, which happens to be the value we want in ems. Now don't worry too much about memorizing the formula. My larger point is that in responsive web design, a certain facility with math is required. It's not a whole lot, but it's there, and more specifically, you should get used to having your calculator at hand. It's a tool you'll be needing every now and then in the real world. So make sure you've got your code editor handy, install all the browsers you can, go grab all the emulators you can, and make sure you add a shortcut to your calculator. Seriously.